What if the delay you have been crying about is actually the preparation for the testimony you have been praying for? What if August 20 is not just another date on your calendar, but a reminder that God can change your story when you least expect it? Listen carefully. Your waiting season is not wasted. The nights you cried, the doors that closed, the opportunities that disappeared, and the prayers that seemed unanswered have not been ignored by heaven. You may not see movement yet, but God is working where your eyes cannot see. Sometimes God allows you to wait because He is building something in you that must be stronger than what you are asking Him to give you. We want the blessing immediately, but God cares about the person who will carry the blessing. We ask for the open door while He prepares our character to walk through it. We ask for increase while He teaches us discipline. We ask for influence while He teaches us humility. We ask for the promise while He prepares us for responsibility. Think about a seed buried beneath the soil. From the surface, nothing appears to be happening. The ground looks silent. The seed looks forgotten. But underneath, roots are forming. Something invisible is becoming strong enough to eventually break through the surface. Your life may look like that seed right now. You may be wondering why nothing has changed. You may be asking, God, when will my season come? But silence does not mean absence. Delay does not mean denial. Hidden work is still work. There are moments when God protects you by making you wait. That relationship you wanted may have ended because He saw what you could not see. That opportunity may have disappeared because it would have taken you away from your purpose. That answer may have been delayed because your heart needed preparation before your hands could receive it. So do not despise this season. Do not measure God's faithfulness by today's circumstances. Keep praying, keep growing, keep preparing, keep believing. The waiting room is not your permanent address. The chapter of uncertainty is not the whole book. Something is being developed in you, and when the right moment arrives, you will understand why you had to wait. On August 20, remember this: God is not finished with your story. Your waiting can become wisdom. Your tears can become strength. Your closed doors can become direction. And the prayer you almost stopped praying can become the testimony you never thought you would tell. And your faith matters. You have probably asked a painful question more than once. Why is it taking so long? You looked around and watched other people receive what you had been praying for. Someone else got the promotion. Someone else got married. Someone else started the business. Someone else moved into the house you dreamed about. Someone else received the opportunity you thought was meant for you, and quietly you wondered whether God had forgotten your name. But comparison can make you misread your own season. A farmer does not dig up a seed every morning to check whether it is growing. He plants it, waters it, protects it, and trusts the process. If he keeps disturbing the soil because he cannot see progress, he may damage what is developing underneath. There are things in your life that require the same patience. You cannot force every answer. You cannot rush every promise. You cannot make every door open by pushing harder. Sometimes your greatest mistake is assuming that because you cannot see anything, God is doing nothing. Look at your life again. Have you become stronger during this waiting season? Have you learned to say no to things that once controlled you? Have you become more disciplined? Have you learned to pray when nobody is watching? Have you discovered that your identity is bigger than your circumstances? If the answer is yes, then something has already changed. Maybe the miracle began before the miracle became visible. A young woman once prayed for years for a better career. Every interview seemed to fail. Every application seemed to disappear into silence. She became frustrated and almost gave up. But during those years, she studied, improved her communication, learned new skills, and built relationships. She thought she was simply waiting for a job. In reality, she was becoming ready for a position she could not yet imagine. When the opportunity finally came, she was prepared. The delay had trained her for the door. That is why you must stop calling yourself forgotten. You are not behind because your timeline looks different. You are not rejected because someone else was chosen first. You are not abandoned because the answer has taken longer than expected. God is not limited by the calendar you created. August 20 can remind you to release the pressure of comparison. Stop staring at somebody else's harvest while ignoring the roots God is growing inside you. Your journey has its own timing. Your assignment has its own process. Your testimony has its own moment. Keep preparing while you wait. Keep becoming while you pray. Keep your heart clean while you trust. The delay is not permission to become bitter. It is an invitation to become better. And when your door opens, you will not only celebrate what God gave you, you will understand what God built in you while you were waiting. There comes a moment in every waiting season when faith becomes more than words. It becomes a decision. You have prayed, cried, asked questions, and searched for answers. Now you must decide whether you will continue trusting God when there is no visible evidence. Faith is easy when the answer is already in your hands. Faith becomes powerful when your hands are empty and your heart still says, I trust you. Maybe right now you are standing between what God promised and what you can see. That space can feel uncomfortable. You may feel stuck between yesterday's disappointment and tomorrow's possibility. But remember this, the middle is not meaningless. The middle is where endurance is developed. Imagine a bridge. You do not build a bridge because both sides are already connected. You build it because there is a gap. Your waiting season is often the bridge between who you were and who you are becoming. Every difficult day can teach you patience. Every unanswered prayer can deepen your dependence on God. Every disappointment can teach you where not to place your identity. There was once a man who lost a business he had spent years building. He felt humiliated. He believed his failure had destroyed his future. For months, he could not understand why God allowed it. But instead of staying defeated, he began learning. He studied his mistakes. He rebuilt his discipline. He repaired relationships he had neglected. He started again with less money but greater wisdom. Years later, he said something powerful. I thought God was taking my future away, but he was taking me away from the version of myself that could not handle my future. That is the hidden power of waiting. Sometimes God is not merely preparing your blessing, he is preparing you to survive the blessing. Because an answered prayer without wisdom can become a burden. Increase without character can destroy a person. Influence without humility can create pride. Success without discipline can become temporary. So God may slow the process because he loves you too much to give you something that your present character cannot carry. Do not fight every delay. Ask what it is teaching you. Ask yourself, what must I learn before I receive what I am requesting? Maybe you need patience. Maybe you need courage. Maybe you need to forgive. Maybe you need to stop chasing approval. Maybe you need to develop skills. Maybe you need to become consistent. Whatever it is, embrace the training. August 20 can become a personal reminder. I will not waste my waiting. I will use this season to grow, prepare, and trust. I will not allow temporary silence to make me doubt eternal purpose. I will keep moving forward, because the person I become in the waiting may be the greatest part of the testimony. What if the door you are begging God to open is not the door you actually need? What if your greatest breakthrough will come through an unexpected path? We often pray with a picture in our minds. We tell God exactly how we want the answer to look. But God sees what we cannot see. He knows the beginning, the middle, and the end. You may be asking for one opportunity while God is preparing another. You may be asking him to restore one relationship while he is preparing healthier relationships. You may be asking for one position while he is preparing you for leadership somewhere completely different. You may be asking for immediate relief while God is building long-term stability. This is why surrender matters. Surrender does not mean you stop dreaming. It means you stop demanding that God fulfill your dream according to your limited understanding. Think about a child traveling with a parent. The child may want to turn down one road because it looks exciting. The parent chooses another road because the parent knows where they are going. From the child's perspective, the decision may feel disappointing. From the parent's perspective, it is protection and direction. Your life can feel like that. You may be looking at a closed door and thinking, this is the end. God may be looking at it and saying, this is protection. You may see rejection. He may see rejection. He may see delay. He may see preparation. You may see low. He may see loss. He may see freedom from something that would have limited you. There was a time when a man prayed desperately for a particular job. He believed that position would solve everything. He was rejected. He felt crushed. Months later, he accepted a smaller opportunity somewhere else. That role introduced him to people, skills, and connections that eventually led him into a career he had never imagined. Looking backward, he realized the rejection was not the end of his story. It was the turn in the road. Your disappointment may be carrying directions you cannot read yet. So when August 20 arrives, do not only pray, "God, give me what I want." Pray, "God, give me what is right. Lead me toward what serves my purpose. Close what must be closed. Open what must be opened. Give me courage to accept your direction even when it looks different from my plan." That prayer requires maturity. You are not losing control. You are placing your future into wiser hands. Keep walking. Keep listening. Keep preparing. Your testimony may not come through the door you expected, but it can still come through the door God chooses. And when you finally see the full picture, you may thank Him for every door that stayed closed. There is another part of waiting that people rarely talk about: the battle inside your mind. Sometimes the external situation is difficult, but the internal conversation becomes even more dangerous. You begin telling yourself, "Maybe it will never happen. Maybe I am not enough. Maybe God has passed me by. Maybe this is all my life will ever be." Be careful with those thoughts. A temporary situation should never be allowed to write a permanent identity over your life. You are not your delay. You are not your rejection. You are not your unanswered email, your empty bank account, your failed attempt, your lonely season, or your past mistake. Those things may describe what you are experiencing, but they do not define who you are becoming. When a storm comes, a tree does not decide that it is no longer a tree. It bends, it strengthens, its roots hold deeper. The storm reveals its strength rather than creating its identity. Your storms can do the same. Maybe this season has exposed fears you did not know were inside you. Maybe it has shown you how quickly you become discouraged. Maybe it has revealed how much you depend on other people's approval. Do not be ashamed of that discovery. Use it. Growth begins when you become honest about what needs to change. Start speaking differently to yourself. Instead of saying nothing is happening, say, "I am being prepared." Instead of saying, "I am behind," say, "My journey has its own timing." Instead of saying, "God forgot me," say, "God is working beyond what I can see." Instead of saying, "This is the end," say, "This is the end." Say, "This is another chapter." Words do not magically create reality, but they influence what you believe, and what you believe influences how you act. If you believe your story is over, you will stop preparing. If you believe your future still matters, you will keep moving. A young man once failed an important exam 3 times. Every failure made him feel less capable. But one teacher told him, "Your result is information, not identity." Those words changed him. He changed his study habits, sought help, and tried again. Eventually, he passed and went farther than he had originally planned. The failure did not become his testimony because it disappeared. It became his testimony because he refused to let it define the ending. So guard your mind during this waiting season. August 20 is a reminder to expect possibility without pretending everything is easy. You can acknowledge pain and still hold on to hope. You can cry and still believe. You can be tired and still continue. Your emotions are real, but they do not have to become your master. Keep your vision alive. Keep your faith active. Keep your preparation moving. The story is still being written. One of the most powerful things you can do while waiting is prepare as though the answer could arrive tomorrow. Preparation turns hope into action. It says, "I believe my future is worth getting ready for." If you are praying for a better career, improve your skills now. If you are praying for financial increase, learn discipline now. If you are praying for leadership, practice responsibility now. If you are praying for healthy relationships, become emotionally mature now. If you are praying for a bigger assignment, become faithful with the small assignment in front of you. Do not wait for the opportunity to start becoming the person who can handle it. There is a story about a man who wanted to become a successful speaker. For years, nobody invited him to large stages. He could have used the rejection as an excuse to stop. Instead, he practiced every day. He studied communication. He recorded himself speaking. He learned how to explain difficult ideas simply. He spoke to small groups whenever he could. For a long time, almost nobody noticed. Then one invitation came. It was not huge, but he was ready. That small opportunity led to another, then another. Eventually, the platform he had dreamed about became real. People called it sudden success. They did not see the years of preparation that made the moment possible. That is how many breakthroughs look. People see the harvest and call it luck. They do not see the roots. So ask yourself today, if my prayer were answered tomorrow, would I be ready? If the answer is no, do not become discouraged. Become intentional. Use this waiting season as training ground. Read, learn, practice, organize, save, build, forgive, improve, strengthen your habits, protect your time. Stop wasting energy trying to convince people who do not believe in your future. You do not need everyone's approval to obey your purpose, and do not underestimate small steps. A single page read each day becomes knowledge. A small amount saved consistently becomes stability. A daily workout becomes strength. A few minutes of prayer becomes a deeper spiritual life. One honest conversation can repair a relationship. One disciplined decision can change the direction of a year. Your breakthrough may arrive through a door, but preparation determines what happens after you walk through it. So when August 20 comes, do not simply wait for God to change your circumstances. Ask God to change your capacity. Ask for wisdom to recognize opportunity, courage to act, discipline to remain consistent, and humility to remember where your help came from. Your waiting season has a purpose. You are not sitting still. You are being equipped. And when the moment arrives, you will not have to become ready overnight. You will already be ready because you use the waiting to prepare. There is a moment when waiting becomes exhausting, and that moment can make you tempted to quit just before the breakthrough. You have been faithful for so long that you begin thinking, what is the point? You stop expecting. You stop preparing. You stop praying with confidence. You tell yourself that maybe disappointment is safer than hope. But do not let exhaustion make your decisions for you. A runner near the finish line can be tired and still be close. The body may scream, the breathing may become difficult, and the legs may feel heavy, but distance does not disappear simply because the runner is exhausted. Sometimes the hardest part is continuing when the finish line is not yet visible. Your season may feel like that. You may be closer than you realize. This does not mean every prayer will be answered exactly as you imagine, or that a particular date guarantees a miracle. God is not controlled by our calendars. But August 20 can be a powerful marker in your faith journey, a day when you decide that you will not abandon hope because the process became difficult. Think about people in Scripture who had to wait. Abraham waited for a promise. Joseph endured years between the dream and the fulfillment. David was anointed before he became king. Their stories remind us that purpose can have a long road between promise and manifestation. The waiting did not mean the promise was meaningless. The waiting shaped them. Joseph learned leadership in places he never expected. David learned courage before the throne. Abraham learned trust through uncertainty. Their preparation happened before the public evidence appeared. Your private season matters. Nobody may applaud your discipline. Nobody may notice the prayers you whisper alone. Nobody may understand why you keep going after disappointment. But God sees the hidden work. So if you are tired, rest, but do not quit. If you need to cry, cry, but do not surrender your future. If you need to slow down, but keep your direction. If you need to ask for help, ask. Strength does not mean pretending you never struggle. Strength means refusing to let struggle make the final decision. Your testimony may begin with a sentence nobody expects. I almost gave up. And then comes the next sentence, but I kept going. That is where resilience is born. On August 20, remind yourself that you do not need to know every detail of tomorrow to take the next faithful step today. You only need enough courage for the step in front of you. Keep moving. The door may not have opened yet, but you are still becoming. The answer may not be visible yet, but your faith is still alive. The story is not over. Your testimony will not only be about what God gives you, it will also be about what He teaches you while you are waiting. One day, you may look back at this season and realize that the greatest miracle was not the thing you received. It was the person you became. Maybe before this season you were impatient. Now you have learned endurance. Maybe you were dependent on people's approval. Now you have learned confidence. Maybe you were afraid of being alone. Now you have learned that solitude can become a place of growth. Maybe you were chasing every opportunity. Now you have learned discernment. Maybe you wanted quick success. Now you understand the value of foundations. That is transformation. A house built quickly without a strong foundation may look beautiful for a moment, but when the storm comes, weakness is exposed. Your life is the same. God is interested in foundations that can carry the weight of your future. So if your foundation is being strengthened right now, do not resent the process. You may be learning patience because your future requires endurance. You may be learning discipline because your future requires consistency. You may be learning humility because your future requires influence. You may be learning generosity because your future requires stewardship. You may be learning courage because your future requires leadership. Everything you learn now can become part of what you carry later. Consider a woman who spent years caring for others while quietly building her own skills. She felt overlooked because nobody celebrated her progress, but she continued learning, saving, and preparing. Eventually, she launched a small business. At first, it was tiny. But because she had developed discipline during the hidden years, she knew how to manage it. The business grew. People saw the success. She remembered the waiting. She knew the testimony had started long before anyone could see it. Your story may be doing the same thing. Do not measure progress only by visible results. Measure it by character. Measure it by wisdom. Measure it by consistency. Measure it by the peace you now have in situations that once controlled you. That is evidence. So on August 20, celebrate more than the possibility of an answered prayer. Celebrate the growth that happened while you were waiting. Say to yourself, I am stronger than I was. I am wiser than I was. I am more prepared than I was. I have survived days I once thought would destroy me. And if God opens the door, walk through it with gratitude. If the answer still takes time, keep growing. Your faith should not depend entirely on a date. Your hope should not collapse because a calendar page changes. August 20 is a reminder, not a deadline. God's timing is bigger than one day. Your purpose is bigger than one disappointment. Your future is bigger than one disappointment. Your future is bigger than one delay. Keep becoming the person who can carry the testimony when it arrives. There is a kind of peace that comes when you stop demanding that tomorrow prove your worth. You realize that your value does not begin when the prayer is answered. Your purpose does not begin when the door opens. Your life is not on pause simply because you are waiting for something. You are living now. This day matters. This breath matters. The people around you matter. The work in front of you matters. Sometimes we become so focused on the future breakthrough that we fail to recognize today's assignment. We keep saying, when God blesses me, then I will serve. When I have more money, then I will give. When I get the opportunity, then I will prepare. When my situation changes, then I will become disciplined. But what if the preparation begins now? What if the small assignment is training you for the larger one? A person who wants to lead 1,000 people must first learn how to serve one person well. Someone who wants to manage millions must learn to manage what they have today. Someone who wants a strong marriage must learn communication, patience, honesty, and responsibility before the wedding day. Someone who wants a successful career must develop habits before the promotion arrives. The future is built through present obedience. Do not despise today's small beginning. You may think your life is ordinary, but ordinary days are where extraordinary character is developed. Nobody becomes disciplined in one dramatic moment. Discipline is built through repeated decisions. Nobody becomes courageous by waiting for fear to disappear. Courage grows when you act despite fear. So look at your life today. What is in your hand? What can you improve? Who can you encourage? What habit can you change? What skill can you develop? What conversation needs to happen? What distraction needs to go? What dream needs to be revisited? Start there. Do not wait for perfect circumstances. The enemy of progress is often the belief that you need everything to be different before you can begin, but you can begin with what you have. And perhaps that is one reason the waiting season exists, to teach you that you already possess more capacity than you thought. You have survived disappointment. You have learned lessons. You have developed strength. You have gained wisdom. You have discovered what matters. You have become more aware of your purpose. These things are not empty, they are resources. So when August 20 arrives, do not just look toward heaven asking for the next chapter. Look at your hands and ask, what can I do today? Then do it. Pray and act. Believe and prepare. Trust and move. Wait, but do not waste the waiting. Because sometimes the testimony begins the moment you decide to live faithfully before the evidence appears. Now imagine the day when you finally look back and understand. You remember the nights you cried. You remember the unanswered questions. You remember the rejection. You remember the closed doors. You remember the season when you wondered whether anything would ever change. Then you realize something. You were not forgotten. You were being formed. The pain did not have the final word. The delay did not have the final word. The rejection did not have the final word. The uncertainty did not have the final word. Your response mattered. Every time you chose hope instead of bitterness, something changed. Every time you chose discipline instead of distraction, something changed. Every time you chose forgiveness instead of revenge, something changed. Every time you chose preparation instead of complaining, something changed. Every time you prayed again after disappointment, something changed. Your testimony is being built through decisions nobody may ever see. Think about a diamond. Under pressure, transformation takes place slowly. You do not watch it changing every minute, but the process is real. Your pressure does not automatically make you better. Your response to pressure matters. If you allow difficulty to teach you, it can develop strength that comfort never could. So do not waste your pressure. Use it. Let it teach you. Let it refine your priorities. Let it reveal what you truly believe. Let it show you where you need growth. And remember, a testimony is not simply a story about getting what you wanted. Sometimes the testimony is, I did not get what I wanted, but God led me somewhere better. Sometimes it is, the door closed, but it protected me. Sometimes it is, I lost something, but I found myself. Sometimes it is, I waited longer than expected, but I became stronger than expected. That kind of testimony carries depth. So if August 20 arrives and everything has not changed, do not conclude that God has failed you. Keep walking, keep trusting, keep preparing, keep your heart open to unexpected answers. You do not need to force a miracle. You do not need to manipulate people. You do not need to chase every door. You need wisdom to recognize what is yours, courage to pursue it, and peace to release what is not. Your future does not depend on panic. Your purpose does not require desperation. Your breakthrough does not need to be manufactured by fear. Let God lead. And while you wait, become ready. Become wiser. Become stronger. Become more disciplined. Become more compassionate. Become more courageous. Become more faithful. Because when the right season comes, you want more than an open door. You want the capacity to walk through it without losing yourself. Your waiting season is not empty space. It is preparation. It is growth. It is formation. It is part of the story. And one day you may look back and say, now I understand why I had to wait.